So today was the day that the Judicial Investigation Commission held its formal hearing on the disciplinary proceedings against Judge Louise Goldston from Raleigh County, West Virginia. And if you've been following along, that's the judge that searched the house of my client, Matt Gibson, and it's been in the news, and it's been, of course, on YouTube. And I posted the fact that late last year, or 2/3 of the way last year, there was a formal statement of charges by the Judicial Investigation folks and under the Supreme Court in West Virginia that formally charged this family court judge with committing violations of the rules of judicial conduct. And so there was a formal charge, and these came on for hearing today. And since my client was the complainant, or one of the complainants in the case, then we had the opportunity to say something. So I wanted to give you an update on exactly what happened. This is actually the formal statement of charges against the judge, and it claims that she alleges that she violated these rules 1.1 through etc. And then it makes these factual allegations like she had engaged in this conduct and been doing it basically for the past 20 years. So there's 14 allegations in as far as what the facts are in this statement of charges. So this is the actual agreement itself that the judge signed and entered into, and that was presented to the JIC today for what they wanted to be a recommendation to the West Virginia Supreme Court. So this is the agreement. It contains the admission for all 14 factual allegations and the statement of charges, and it has an admission for all of these rules of conduct which were violated, and it sets them out. And then it has the recommended punishment of a censure and a fine of $5,000. And it was signed by the judge and by the judicial counsel in the case and presented to the JIC for their recommendation, after which it would go to the West Virginia Supreme Court, and they could accept it, or they could deny it, or they could change it in some way. It's up to the Supreme Court in the end. These are the actual rules that it was agreed upon by all the parties, including the judge, that were violated in this situation. So here we have the Code of Judicial Conduct. We have Canon 1. We have Rule 1.1, Rule 1.2, confidence in the judiciary, Rule 1.3, avoiding abuse of the prestige of the judicial office. We have many of the Canon 2 rules here, giving precedence to the duties of judicial office, Rule 2.2, fairness, impartiality, bias, and Rule 2.4, external influences on judicial conduct. So these were all things that were set out and admitted to on the record by the judge. Remember that this is the judicial disciplinary hearing. This is not a criminal case, and it's not a civil lawsuit. So there's a different point of view, a different structure of rules, and a different structure of law that they're working for. So given what was happening and the negotiated agreement, and that the fact that the judge took responsibility to all 14 paragraphs in the statement of charges and took responsibility for all of the stated violations of the rules of judicial conduct, on behalf of my client, we got a chance to speak, and we did ask the JIC to adopt the recommendations, to adopt the agreement, and to adopt the sanctions in the agreement. And they would, if they did, then forward that to the West Virginia Supreme Court. And then we asked the West Virginia Supreme Court to adopt those sanctions, to adopt that agreement, those findings. So in the end, what was the agreement? It was, the harshest monetary penalty that could be issued, and that was $5,000. And it was the second harshest other sanction, which is, instead of suspension for 1 year, up to 1 year unpaid, it was a censure, which is 3 steps higher than anything else they could have done. So we did agree that under the circumstances and mitigating factors that it was fair, and we did agree to it and asked that it be accepted by the Supreme Court. Now, that doesn't foreclose us pursuing justice in other ways, and like I said, the judge did take responsibility. So we'll definitely have updates on where this goes from there, and as soon as I hear from the JIC what their ultimate ruling is, and obviously what the Supreme Court ruling is, and we'll definitely update along the way. So please follow along, subscribe to civilrightslawyer.com, where you will get updates.